And white people join the Black Panthers? I think we're ready.
The whole reason we are in this mess is because white people weren't even ready to vote for a black woman or get rid of the KKK. And here we are, where you all still want to hide behind the bodies of minorities instead of do anything yourself. Men are the only group that still mostly support ICE, and you know that group is fucking bolstered up by white people. Have you ever read about White Panthers or read a book I'm losing my fucking mind.
Now, this may just be me, but as a white person, I don't understand why we're asking the Black Panthers if we can join their party instead of resurrecting the White Panther Party, which was created to show support and allyship for the Black Panther Party. Now hold the fuck up. I understand the majority of Black Panthers are not going to give a fuck if you're white. They're going to give a fuck if you're the right kind of person to be fighting alongside them. That being said, if you're white and you join the Black Panther Party, there is a chance that you may not even be on the front lines, because it's not about you. It's not about your face. It's not about your voice. It's about the black community. And yeah, you have to be okay with that, because this organization was created to call out the oppression made by white people. You're not going to be centered in it. There is no reason why we're not resurrecting the White Panther Party. I'm just saying. And I don't know, it's kind of just rubbing me the wrong way about how many people are just waiting for black men to come in and save us when we can do the work ourselves by holding white men accountable, especially the ones at our dinner tables. I digress.
It is your boy, the Mulatto Ronin, back on at it again with another banger and fire video for y'alls out there today. They're y'all. I gotta really preach to all the white people out there, so I'm gonna need y'all to sit down and listen all the way through, because I gotta educate y'all, because I'm seeing on TikTok, and apparently there's a lot of white people out there who want to join the Black Panther Party. Apparently, I don't know how widespread it is, but I'm here to tell y'all that shit is not a smart idea. And I gotta break down the dynamics of the black community, because yeah, I don't think y'all ready. Yeah, real shit. Some of y'all say, oh yeah, I'm ready. Nah, nigga, you ain't ready. You is not ready. And I'm about to explain why. Because first thing first, the average white person is very, very uncultured when it comes down to the black community, and also black people as well. But this goes down to our education system. I have to keep in mind, America is not really a place that wants unity. And even just look at the way we live, man, you know, very, very consumerist, one-upping one another, you know, trying to, you know, prove they better than somebody else, you know, flexing on people. Like that's how we live. And it's very individualistic type of lifestyle here, compared to at least back in you know, the civil rights era. At least back then there was like a sense of community. Yeah, it was bad, it was a lot of horrific stuff, but at the same time, you know, at least there was always a sense of community. But now coming up, it's like looking around, it's just like, man, everybody's stressed, everybody's angry, and it's getting to the point where people want to overthrow. And who has the most power and influence to overthrow? Afro-melanated people. Now, let me get into the dynamics of the black community and why I don't think it's a smart idea for you to jump up there in the black community. And now, it's a difference. If you're trying to make an alliance, that's cool. But joining the Black Panther Party, no. Like the second girl said, you have the White Panther Party for white people that fights for any injustices that are going on for minorities out here. Like, they have that group. So that should really just the smartest option for you. Now, if the White Panther Party, you know, like happens to really pick up and that becomes something, you know, really, really big nowadays, I don't know how big it is. I'm recently just learning about the White Panther Party, because like I don't remember that even being talked about in school, you know. And that's just crazy, you know, how like so much information is just left out, you know, from like just in the educational system, you know, so we can see certain things. So when we going through history and like and then on top of that, looking at the future, just going through life, we can catch certain things early, so we all don't end up duped out here, you know. But there's a lot of dynamics you need to know if you are trying to join forces with the black community. First thing first, the black community, like when you look around, not all black is black. So when it comes down to people like me, you know, light skinned, racially ambiguous people, you know, whether they be black and white, you know, the biracials and you know, you got the Blasians and everybody, they're not black. And I'm gonna tell y'all why. These people are the golden race people. And this is why I'm saying that. Why are they the golden race people and they're not black? Well, here's a few reasons why. So when you mix black and white, and depending on the circumstances, listen, you got some black and white people race mix, they're in like average, maybe lower income or maybe slightly above, medium income. Okay, cool. And then you got the high earners, which if you're going to race mix, I would say do it at like the high earning stage. But you have to understand with the mulattoes out here, the racially ambiguous type of people, we don't get the same type of treatment in the black community. And then on top of that, our outlook on life is definitely more different. Our experiences are different compared to a black person. And the reason why I'm saying this and why we need our own class in America, not to say that we're better than anybody, but at the end of the day, we're in our own lane, because I'm tired of seeing so many people that look like me confused, like don't know their identity, and people just look at them and be like, oh, no, you're black, but you're mixed. Like, you're black and white. You're going to have some political stance kind of similar to a lot of white people at times, like politically you can be all over the place. That's the same thing in the black community as well, but certain ideologies, that's just, you can definitely sense, how different, a lot of us move, and isolation, because you don't really fit in, you're kind of really isolated at times. But now it's definitely more different if you're a person like higher earning, so if you swirled and got into an interracial relationship and, you race mix and it's of, higher, higher status and higher income, that's different. You're going to have a much more positive outlook for the most part. But when you're trying to build yourself up, you have to understand a lot of black people is going to look at you and automatically think privilege. And that could be further from the truth. See, when you're light skinned and you look decent, carry yourself well in the black community, you're going to be seen as a threat everywhere you go. Listen, I do have a lot of black friends as well, like all different walks of life. But the reason why I'm saying this, because there is a lot of black women that I've met over the years, and they tell me, like, and even though they're black people, they have told me, they say, hey man, like, I do rock with you, but like, I don't really see you as black, like, you're going to get told this, your whole life, and to be real with you, this is how I know I'm mixed, because back in high school, every mixed light-skinned person knows what I'm talking about. You're very, very light-skinned. If you have never had a white person come up to you after they get a minor tan throughout the summer, if they even get that, because white people, they usually get, turned red for the most part, but some of them can tan. And the ones that do happen to tan, they love to compare their skin tone to mine. And I seen that trend with a lot of mixed people. And even when I look on YouTube, at first I was like, maybe that's just a coincidence. I was like, oh, nah, that shit is a real thing. So when white people trying to figure out, is they tan enough, they come into the racially ambiguous person. So that needs to tell you everything that you know right there. Yeah, you're not black. You're slap in the middle. And that's okay. But your identity was erased from history due to the one drop rule. And then on top of that, to all the people that's going to be like, oh, you're still black at the end of the day. No, sir. Look at places like the Dominican Republic, so they call them, I believe, the mestizos, if I'm not mistaken. The people are mixed between African and I think Spanish descent, like Spaniard descent, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was, Spain. Yeah, I think it was African and Spaniards, I think. Not quite too sure, but definitely, you still got the European mix in you. So that's what they call them. And then to take it a step farther, even when you look at Africa, you have like the coloreds. Now the coloreds is seen as derogatory over here in America. That's what they used to call, black people over here. But at the same time, over there in South Africa, it's different. See, the mixed Afro people, whether they're black and white or, wherever the case may be, you got the black and Asians, like whatever mix it is, yeah, they call them the coloreds. Yeah, and they're like really light skinned and you can definitely see the mix and everything. But yeah, that's what they call them. They have a whole class for them, so there's no confusion and there's better community. And then on top of that, if you're light skinned, see, this is another dynamic. A lot of people just look at you and be like, oh yeah, you can just rise to the top, or like people automatically think so many things about you. And I'm just like, listen, if a light-skinned person really like worked hard to get to where they're at, especially as a man, that nigga worked hard, because When I say it is war, because you like the amount of mental gymnastics you have to go through with people, whether they be black people, white people, Hispanics definitely be putting us through it. But yeah, like the amount of mental gymnastics that you have to like really go through. And yeah, it's really crazy. Now, I'm very, very proud to be who I am, which is why I said at the beginning of the video, when I had that text came up on the screen, if you have any racially ambiguous type of children and you're struggling how to raise them and you don't know how to properly identify them, you know, what to tell them their identity, they don't quite fit in, I'm here to help. So if that's something that you do need help with, I can definitely assist you with that, because I want to see the next generation of racially ambiguous mulatto type of children do very well out here. You know, especially the ones that's coming from lower incomes and trying to build themselves, but they don't quite fit in. They're kind of lost out here. You know, I want to be the person to really give you and your family the guidance that y'all need. So that way y'all know how to move out here and nobody's confused. And yeah, you know, y'all can come out there doing pretty good. So, you know, that's what I'm trying to do, because I'm seeing a lot of black men like they're out here dating all these other races of women, and you know, they're procreating and you know, having all these mixed light-skinned children left and right. But at the same time, I do think there needs to be a serious talk about, hey, proper identity and know where they stand. Don't let nobody put you in a box. You are mixed and you need to get around other mixed people so you can really work together and grow. And yeah, you know, really just that. Not to say you can't do it in the black community, because listen, it's black people that will look at you as black. But as a man, especially as a man that worked on himself, hit the gym. Now, I'm not fully established just yet. You know, I still got a lot of work to do myself on the financial end. But at the same time, I know how to move and I look pretty decent. I hit the gym. And listen, when you're walking around and you carry yourself well, you're fit, you're going to be a threat everywhere you go, no matter it's the black community, the white community, Hispanics, you know, it just don't matter, you know, especially if you're like in the lower income, you're trying to build out here, you're trying to rise, you're gonna have to work really, really hard to really pull it off. And especially in an individualistic type of culture like America, yeah, it's gonna be pretty rough, you know, and you got a broken family on top of it. It's a lot of work, but I just need to really, you know, get that message out there so you're aware of these type of dynamics. So if you see certain things going on, you know why. Now, when it comes down to black people, certain dynamics as well. I know a lot of white people that know they're confused with the whole baby mamas and everything. Why did black men do all this and that? Well, you have to understand, you have to look at the history of black people. I know a lot of black people are gonna be like, oh, we're not from Africa, such and such. Like, bro, like you do a DNA test, for the most part, you're gonna have roots tracing back to Africa. You know, miss me with that. And in African culture, with a lot of African countries, polygamy is the norm. And in general, like a lot of men in general are very polygamous. But at the same time, the issue that we have here in America compared to Africa, see, Africa has structure with it. So there's not a bunch of leftover women who are, you know, like they don't have a man after a certain age. You know, they're not like unmarried, you know, like they have structure to it over there in Africa. Here in America, it's a free for all. You know, the average man and woman have no clue how one another works. The average man don't even have a clue about, you know, why fitness is important, why health is important. That's the average American in general. But as a man, you should be kind of fit, you know, for the most part. But, you know, we just let so much slide over here in America. So you have to keep in mind, you know, you're dealing with some very strong people. And even tracing back to Africa, you know, seeing certain things in order, you know, civilizations, you know, like that's a very, very like different group of people that you're dealing with. And no offense to white people, but it's like y'all move different. When y'all build something, y'all want to get real comfortable, you know. But compared to you know, like a lot of black Americans, and that's another thing too, I noticed. Not all black Americans, but a good amount. If it's one thing I notice when it comes down to white people, Hispanics, and all these other groups, they not finna go out their way to go really help a lot of other communities. You know, at least not at the rate that a black person will, or, you know, a racially ambiguous type of person is going to do. You know, like, yeah, like at the end of the day, there's problems in the community. Well, it's hard to say because I know with white people it's a little different. Because one thing I noticed with white people, like I said, y'all got a bit too comfortable. I don't really see a lot of white people in the gym. I don't see a lot of white people that really prioritize, a healthy lifestyle. A lot of white people tend to live pretty comfortable. I say, hey, give me this, I'll do this, and I'm good. Not to say all y'all, but that's what I noticed with you guys. White people, on black people, it's more different. It's like you'll get rewarded, but only if you're participating in self-destruction. That's why I noticed if you want to really come up in the black community, you got to really do some really destructive stuff to really get your attention and get that social status. I ain't doing that. So that's one way. Then the other issue with the black community, so this is one thing I will say about white people. If y'all building and working together, y'all don't start fucking over each other, at least till y'all get to the top. Black community on the other hand, nah, they doing that shit all at the bottom. Like, okay, oh, you got an idea? Oh, you trying to be great? Nah, we stumping that motherfucker down. Yeah, that's the black community. And then if you don't know who you are as a light-skinned, racially ambiguous person, you don't know that you're mulatto, MGM, multi-generational. You don't know that you're the golden race people walking around. Yeah, you're gonna get done dirty out here. So you need to be aware of all these type of dynamics. Then on top of that, if you're trying to start a revolutionary and have the black community assist you with it, first thing first, when it comes down to who are you going to get to communicate and talk to the amount of people in this community, first thing first, don't send the most radical person out here. No. What you need to do, you need to get Jimmy from the ice cream shop, get him, but make sure he's very smart and very cultured and has a lot of black friends or, mulatto type friends. He knows the history, smart type of person, but at the same time, looking at him, you really can't tell that he's really smart like that. Get somebody like this, send his ass out there to the black community and, just have him talk to random people. Forget all these organizations and, NAACP and, the Black Panther Party. Not saying they don't have a place, but it's just like you need to really talk to the average everyday black American, the average mulatto, racially ambiguous people, talk to them. And also the best types of people to talk to, you're talking about black people, talk to the ones that are alone, the ones that stick to themselves, mind their own business, love their peace. Talk to them because at the end of the day, them the ones who are the most wise, them are the ones who are the most smartest and, who really going to bring some serious structure. I would try to work with them. But at the same time, you better make sure there is a contract written and, once everything is over, okay, cool, proper education for everybody. Then on top of that, make sure everybody is, properly identified because the whole racial structure here in America, it is garbage, really garbage. It's like I said, this is not a place of unity. So if we're gonna if we're gonna do this, we need to know that there's gonna be fair game and unity for everybody. 100%, because there is too many people walking around with a mindset of like if they see homeless people or like a bunch of people that below a certain poverty line, it really baffles me how many people just don't care about that. They'd be like, oh, they ain't working hard enough. Okay, we do got those portion of people, but it's a big number and it's growing because what's going to happen is those people, they pull up at your doorstep. Then what? You can only fend off so many people. And the average American, especially white people, y'all are not in the best shape to fend off a bunch of people, especially the YNs. Are y'all really ready for these niggas right here pulling up at y'all doorstep? Fuck no. So I suggest y'all to really learn the dynamics of the community. Make sure that you're going to guarantee that, hey, after everything is over, we're going to make sure we're going to have certain things in place. It's going to be a fair game. And yeah, everybody's going to be well taken care of. Have a contract, everything. Get some lawyers, both of us, everybody, we on the same page and we good. If we can do all that, I think things will be pretty good. Now, will the average American do that? Hard to say. Probably not. The average American really ain't finna overthrow shit. If I'm being honest, it's honestly better to really make your money and surround yourself with solid groups of people. Like when it comes down to the racially ambiguous mulatto MGM type of people, this is what my content is really based for, because, you know, we're very misunderstood people. There's a lot of misinformation about us. We're poorly represented. And a lot of people think, oh, you know, oh, you're black. Nah. In a black community, like a lot of them don't see me as black. Some of them do, but it just depends on who you ask. For that reason, how on earth can I call myself black? And then white people, you know, like with them, some of them have, like, even if they say black, then they be like, oh, what are you mixed with? It's clearly saying that, hey, you're not black. And then looking at the rest of the world, and even South Africa having our own class, the mixed race, you know, African, you know, like, yeah, the mixed race Afro people having our own class out there, you know, hey, that's very, very important, you know. So yeah, so we can get all that done, we good. And then one more thing too, I got to point out too, when you do send this type of white boy, you know, Jimmy from the ice cream shop, you know, somebody like this, if you come into the black community, all right, depending on what part, I don't know where you at, but you need to have backup. You know, keep somebody like this in the background, you know, like keep this somebody like this in like the truck, windows tinted, you know, keep somebody like that. Because when shit pop off, they see a white boy out there, you know, somebody like this, even though he ain't gonna raise too much suspicion, somebody like this. But trust me, hey, when them real niggas come out and they ready to pop off, you better have the white boy like this over here ready to go, scrapped up too, and don't miss. You know, I'm keeping it 100 with you, you know, because hey, some places you can go, you're gonna be all right. But at the end of the day, if you don't look like a threat, for the most part, black people really ain't really finna try you. But if you look like, you know, you strong, you know, you build, you know, like, and you're a white guy, come on now, you walk in hood like that, yeah, you're gonna get tried more. It's actually so weird how that works, because like ever since I hit the gym, yeah, that's when you're gonna get tested the most out here. So you need somebody with a dad bod. You need a white boy with a dad bod, you know, average Joe, looks like a good dad, you know, yeah, get somebody like that, and have him try to go talk to people. Don't get a real one, build and everything. Nah, that ain't gonna work. Especially knowing how the black community is. Come on now. Yeah, if it's one thing you need to know, you cannot look too decent or too good in the black community. It's gonna raise suspicion right off the rip. If it don't raise suspicion, it's gonna have the effect of competition, and you will be tested. So you need to be aware of all those dynamics. That's why I said don't bring your best and brightest, and get somebody who is bright, but don't make sure they don't look it. Like have the real ones that look it, build and everything. Have them in the background in the truck in case something goes crazy. But that's really all I gotta say. Let me know what you guys think. It is your boy, the Mulatto Ronin. Like and subscribe, share. Y'all take it easy.